Level 1. Solo founder, startup phase. You wake up without an alarm, not because you don't have work, because there's no schedule. Your day starts the moment you open your laptop. You are the company. There is no team, no office, no structure. Just an idea and whatever money you have left to keep it alive. Your bank account matters more than your calendar. Every expense is a decision. Every decision feels permanent. You build the product yourself. You write the code, design the website, fix the bugs. When something breaks, there is no one else to call. You handle sales, cold emails, messages, calls that don't get answered, rejections that don't come with explanations. You handle marketing, posting, testing, adjusting, hoping something works. And when a customer finally responds, you handle support too. Everything depends on you. There is no salary. Some months you make money, most months you don't. You tell yourself it's temporary, that once things start working, it will get easier. But right now, nothing is stable. Not income, not growth, not even direction. You question the idea, you question the timing. Sometimes you question yourself. Effort does not guarantee results. You can work all day and still have nothing to show for it. That is the reality. If the business fails, there is no fallback inside it, only what you had before. And yet, you keep going, because one thing changes everything. The moment someone pays you, not interest, not feedback, money, that is when the idea becomes something real. And once that happens, you are no longer alone in it. You become something else. You become a CEO with a company that actually exists. Level 2, small startup CEO. You wake up to messages from other people, not many, but enough to change how your day starts. You are no longer working alone. Your team is small, 2, maybe 5 people. Early hires who believed in the idea enough to join before it was proven. Now, you are responsible for more than just yourself. There are salaries to pay, expectations to meet, decisions that affect other people's lives. The business has customers, not many, but real ones. They are paying for what you built. That changes everything. Revenue is inconsistent, but it exists. Some months are strong, others are not. Cash flow becomes your main concern. You track every dollar coming in and going out. Runway becomes a constant thought. How many months can you survive if growth slows? Your role starts to shift. You still do everything, but now you also manage people. You answer questions. You assign work. You step in when something breaks. You are building a product and a team at the same time. Mistakes become more expensive. A bad hire costs time and money. A missed opportunity slows growth. You begin to realize something important. The idea is no longer the risk. Execution is, because now the business is real. It exists in the market, and it needs to prove it can survive there. You don't just need users, you need consistency, predictable revenue, repeat customers, a product that works without constant fixes. Because once that starts to happen, everything changes again. The business stops feeling fragile, it starts to feel scalable. And that is when the next level begins. You are no longer just trying to survive, you are trying to grow. Level 3, growing startup CEO. You wake up to a full calendar, meetings, updates, decisions waiting to be made. The company is no longer small. Your team has grown to 15, 20, maybe 40 people. There are roles now, departments starting to form, people who specialize in things you used to handle yourself. Revenue is consistent, not perfect, not predictable enough to relax, but real enough that the business is no longer at risk of disappearing overnight. You start thinking in months instead of days. Growth becomes the focus. You hire faster, you expand the product, you invest in marketing that goes beyond experiments. And for the first time, outside money shows up. Investors, they bring capital, but also expectations, targets, metrics, growth rates. You're no longer just building a company. You are building it on a timeline. Your role changes again. You are not doing most of the work anymore. You are managing the people who do it. You run meetings instead of writing code. You review strategy instead of answering support tickets. Letting go becomes part of the job. And it's not easy, because no one will care about the business the way you do, but they don't have to. They just have to perform. That becomes your standard. You track it, you measure it, you act on it. Because at this level, growth solves most problems. But it also creates new ones, more people, more complexity, more decisions. And eventually the company stops feeling like a startup. It starts feeling like an organization, structured, layered, dependent on systems. That is when your role shifts again. You stop building the company directly, you start building how the company operates. Level 4, established company CEO. You wake up and the company runs without you for a few hours. That didn't used to be possible. Now it is. Your team has grown past 50, maybe closer to 150 people. There are departments, leaders for each function, operations, sales, product, and finance. The business is stable. Revenue is predictable. Customers are consistent. The product works without constant intervention. For the first time, you are not solving urgent problems every day. You are managing a system. Your role shifts again. You are no longer the one doing the work. You are the one building the structure that allows the work to happen. Processes replace improvisation. Instead of reacting, you plan. Instead of fixing issues yourself, you expect your team to handle them. Delegation becomes necessary and difficult because letting go means trusting other people to make decisions you used to control. Some decisions will be wrong. That is part of it. You begin hiring leaders instead of employees, people who can run entire parts of the company without you. Your time moves upward. Fewer tasks, bigger decisions. You think about hiring plans, expansion opportunities, long-term direction. Culture becomes important. How people work, how they communicate, what the company stands for. Because at this level, the company is no longer defined by you alone. It is defined by how it operates when you are not there. And if that system works, something changes again. Growth becomes repeatable, not just possible. And that is when the company moves to the next level, from stable to expanding. Level 5 mid-sized company CEO. You wake up and the company is too large to fully see. Not physically, structurally. There are now hundreds of employees, multiple departments, layers of management between you and the day-to-day work. You no longer know everyone's name. That is the first real sign of scale. The business is strong, revenue is steady, profits are consistent. The company is no longer trying to prove it works. It works. Now the focus is expansion, new markets, new products, new locations. Growth is no longer about survival or validation. It is about increasing reach. Your role changes again. You are no longer managing teams directly. You are managing the people who manage teams, directors, VPs, department heads. Your decisions now affect hundreds of employees at once. A strategy shift changes entire departments. A hiring decision shapes the company's future. Communication becomes harder. You can't speak to everyone directly, so you rely on structure. Meetings, reports, metrics. You learn to trust information instead of proximity because you are no longer close to the work. You are close to the outcomes. That becomes your focus. Results. Revenue growth, profit margins, efficiency. Everything is measured. Because at this level, small improvements create large results, but the company is still contained, mostly in one country, one core market, and once expansion goes beyond that, everything changes again. The company becomes larger than a single market, and your role becomes less operational and more strategic. Level 6, large company CEO. You wake up and the company is operating in places you are not. Different cities, different regions, sometimes different countries. The business is no longer local, it is national, sometimes international. There are thousands of employees now, entire divisions with their own leadership, their own goals, their own challenges. You cannot track everything, and you are not supposed to. Your role is no longer operational, it is strategic. You decide the direction, which markets to enter, which products to invest in, where to allocate capital. Execution happens below you. Entire teams handle that. Your time is spent in high-level meetings, executives reporting results, planning sessions for the next quarter, the next year, the next 3 years. You think in longer timelines now, not weeks, not months, years. Competition becomes more serious. You are no longer competing with small companies. You are competing with other large organizations, companies with similar resources, similar reach, similar ambitions. Mistakes are more expensive. A wrong move doesn't just affect a team, it affects the company. Your visibility increases, industry attention, partnerships, larger deals. You begin interacting with boards, investors, and external stakeholders more often. Because at this level, the company is no longer just a business. It is an organization with influence. And once that influence grows, so does the pressure. Because beyond this level, performance is no longer internal. It is public, measured, watched, evaluated. That is where the next level begins. Level 7, Corporate CEO, Pre-Fortune 500. You wake up and the company is being watched. Not just by employees or customers, by investors, analysts, media. The business is now large enough that its performance is visible outside the company. Revenue reports matter publicly. Growth is tracked. Decisions are discussed beyond your organization. You are leading a major company, possibly public, if not, close to it. That changes everything. You no longer answer only to the company. You answer to a board of directors, to shareholders, to expectations that exist outside your control. Quarterly performance becomes a cycle. Targets, results, reactions. If the company performs well, confidence increases. If it doesn't, pressure builds immediately. Your role shifts again. You are no longer just managing operations or strategy. You are managing perception, how the company is seen, how decisions are communicated, how confidence is maintained. Every statement matters. Every move is analyzed. Your time is split between internal leadership and external responsibility. Board meetings, investor calls, public positioning. The margin for error becomes smaller because mistakes are no longer private. They are visible, and visibility changes how decisions are made. You begin thinking not just about what is right, but how will it be received? Because at this level, performance alone is not enough. It has to be understood. It has to be trusted. And once the company grows beyond this point, the scale changes again, from large to global, from visible to influential. Level 8, Fortune 500 CEO. You wake up and the company is everywhere. Multiple countries, multiple markets, millions of customers, tens of thousands of employees. The scale is no longer something you can fully see. It is something you direct. You are the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, one of the largest organizations in the world. Your decisions don't just affect your company, they affect industries, supply chains, competitors, markets. A single announcement can move stock prices. A strategic shift can impact thousands of jobs. Your role is no longer operational, it is directional. You set the vision, long-term priorities, capital allocation, major acquisitions. Everything else flows from those decisions. You work closely with the board. You interact with institutional investors. You represent the company publicly, interviews, earnings calls, global events. Every word matters, because at this level, confidence is part of performance. You are constantly evaluated by shareholders, by the market, by the public. Pressure is constant, but so is influence. You have access to people and decisions that shape the economy, government officials, industry leaders, global partners. This is no longer just a company. It is an institution, and your role is to guide it forward, not just for the next quarter, but for the next decade. Because at this level, success is no longer defined by growth alone. It is defined by impact, what you build, what you change, and what remains after you are gone.